ReSave plugin for Revit was created to help BIM coordinators to resave Revit models to central or transmitted state in a batch mode. There are three main states of the workshared model in Revit. Central, which is a workshared file stored on a local server or on the cloud. Local, which is a local copy of a central file on a local hard drive. Shared, a frozen copy of a central file disconnected from the central. It is often used to share the model with people who don't need the access to the central model, like your client or subcontractors. Transmitted state is used to seal the work-sharing central model in order to avoid any changes in the model. ReSave plugin helps to save models as a central file in a batch mode without opening them. From local to central state, from central to transmitted, from an earlier version of Revit to the newer one. It also helps to rename models in a batch mode. ReSave Models works with local drive, network server, as well as with Revit Server. Launch the ReSave plugin under the Ineka tab. Find the needed folder with Revit models that you want to resave as central. In ReSave Models window, you can see the list of Revit model files from a chosen directory. Each file has color identification and a status. The status's explanation can be found under the button. There are three colors. These colors indicate the ability to resave the file into central file. Red indicates that the file cannot be resaved as central. It is either damaged or created in a later Revit version. Yellow means that the file can be resaved as a central file. Green means that the file is already central. Other functionalities of ReSave Models are rename models, show model in folder, delete files, filter files by name, and ignore archive. In order to rename the file, you can double-click on a name under the document name or use the function Replace in Name on the left side panel. The Replace in Name function helps to change the names of the models in a batch mode. Tick the files that you want to rename, enter the path that you are going to change in the file name, then click on the arrows to rename the files. The files will be renamed. Please note that after renaming, the central files will change its status to Replaced Central, while the files with the transmitted status will keep the same status. After renaming the central files, you need to resave them. Tick the Replace Central files and click on the Apply button to have them resaved. If you want to quickly locate the model in the folder where it is situated, click the button on the right or right-click a document name. A context menu will appear, allowing you to show the model in the folder or delete the files. To navigate through the files list more easily, you can use the filter function and ignore archive. To limit the amount of files displayed, type in the common part of the file's name that you want to work with. If you have a folder in your project file structure where you store the archived models, you may choose to ignore this folder. The files located in the archive will not appear in the list of models. It works only with folders containing the word archive in its name. If you need to refresh the table, click the Refresh button in the bottom left corner. ReSave Models also helps to create shared models from central files. This function works similarly to Ineka's Share Model plugin. However, Share Model plugin works within the Open Revit project and is aimed to be used by BIM Modeler, while sharing files with the help of ReSave plugin is intended for use by BIM Coordinator or other specialist who is responsible for management of all the BIM project files. The Share Model function creates a frozen copy of a central model. This function is useful when you need to share the central model with the client or subcontractor, or if you need to create a regular backup version. Keep in mind that you can only apply the Share Model function to the files in the central state. To understand the difference between the transmitted and shared files, keep in mind that when you resave the model to the transmitted state, the central file is overwritten. However, when using the share model function, a new copy of the model will be created. To share the model, tick the files in the column Share. Then set the settings under the Settings button. You can also automatically create the NWC file for the Navisworks coordination model. Fill in the part of the name that you want to be replaced in the shared model. Add the prefix or postfix if needed. Choose the folder for storing the shared Revit file and the NWC file, and click the Save button. Generally, ReSave Model plugin is useful in the following cases. You need to save the previous Revit project or a template project as a basis for a new project. Need to update the model to a high Revit version. Need to transmit Revit models to the client. Need to create a new version of the coordination model. Summary. To sum up, ReSave Model serves the following functions: resaving of replaced central files, files in transmitted state, local copies and simple local files into central models in a batch mode. Creates transmitted models, which are copies of central models, in a batch mode. Sets to disable links when resaving. Batch renaming of models. Creates NWC of a model in a batch mode. The plugin allows to work with the Revit Server. You can download ReSave Models from our website aneca.nl free of charge, following the link in the description to this video. The team of our IT developers will be happy to help you create the automation means for your specific needs. Please send your request to info@aneca.nl.